All right, another thing Jerry said Monday night, one of the weird moments of that great game between two hard-fought teams. Late in the first half, Cowboys run a play, 8 seconds left, 2 timeouts remaining. We assume Mike McCarthy's going to do that. They're going to have a shot at the end zone. Doesn't take 8 seconds to run a play from the 14-yard line to the end zone. And if they don't score, take the 3 points and go into halftime with a 10-7 lead. Here's Jerry Jones talking about Mike McCarthy's decision to let the clock run down to 3 seconds, not call the timeout, and just kick the field goal instead of throwing the ball to the end zone. Here he is.
Well, first of all, this is not an impassioned response to your question at all. But I thought we should have tried another pass in the end zone and manage the clock accordingly.
Do you think not doing that shows a lack of faith that Mike might have in Dak's ability to make that decision?
Not at all. Not at all.
You know, when he said not at all the first time, I believed him. When he said it the second time, I wondered whether he believed him. Because the way he answered that, it's almost like, you know what, I hadn't thought of that. So, no. And that's one of the factors. Again, if life is all a string of probabilities, what might have caused Mike McCarthy to not do it is, well, you know what? There's a chance we're going to throw an interception in the end zone. We don't have a whole lot of room. We don't have a chance for anybody to get past the defense because we're talking about 14 yards plus 10, and that's the end of it. We throw that ball into the end zone. Maybe the ball gets tipped. Maybe something happens. And interception, worst case scenario, interception with a guy who's got a clear lane 100 yards the other way. Let's just take the 3 and get out of Dodge. And I feel like the way Jerry answered it, he hadn't considered it, and he wasn't going to go there. But I think if Mike McCarthy were attached to a lie detector test, he'd have to say at the end of the day that may have been the tipping point for him. Chance of an interception being thrown in the end zone, and we get 0 instead of 3.
Well, what he cited, Mike McCarthy I'm talking about, was that they had a holding penalty in that drive, and they did. So let's back up a little bit. They got the ball back at their own 29 with 59 seconds left, okay? My problem, they did get a holding penalty there. My problem with it is with 14 seconds left, they were on the 17. They throw a short pass across the middle to Tony Pollard for 3 yards. Why? Why aren't you throwing into the end zone on that play? So Mike McCarthy's words make me think that he doesn't have any faith in that offense whatsoever in the red zone, period. And maybe he doesn't have faith in his own play calling in the red zone because they've been so bad at it. They were 2 for 4 in the red zone in that game. They're 26th in red zone efficiency. This was the number 1 red zone team last year. 26th in red zone efficiency. 23 possessions, 9 touchdowns. That is just flat out awful. 39%, Mike. And a lot of those were goal-to-goal situations when they didn't get in. They either turned it over on downs or they kicked the field goal. They're kicking way too many chip shot field goals. So I think it was a lack of faith in all of that. In Dak, in the offensive line, in the receiver's ability to get open down there in the red zone, and his play calling in the red zone, frankly. But you take a timeout with you into the locker room, that does you absolutely no good.
I mean, even if you're not going to throw it into the end zone, even if you don't want to, even if you don't know which play you would call, why not do a draw play? They expect to throw to the end zone.
Absolutely.
Maybe Tony Pollard pops through and runs to the goal line, and if he doesn't, it's not going to take 8 seconds. You jump up, you take the timeout, and you kick the field goal. So it just really is strange. And they say they don't listen to the noise. But even when they don't listen, they hear it. And the narrative about the red zone issues with the Cowboys, it might have caused him to say, I don't want to give the haters, back to Micah Parsons' words, I don't want to give them something to talk about tomorrow if we throw this thing into the end zone and it gets picked off. Or we get another holding penalty and the field goal is 10 yards back farther and maybe we miss it. I just want the 3 here. I'm taking the 3. and I'm getting to the locker room, and we'll come out and see what we can do. And that's fine. They won by 3. But you know what? If the Chargers had put together a drive at the end of the game and won by 4 with a touchdown, even though it's not fair to say, well, if you would have scored a touchdown at the end of the half, it would have been a tie instead, because the whole game changes if it's 14-7 versus 10-7 going into the second half. People would have said that. People would have thought that. Yeah. And it would have been just another thing for the Cowboys to deal with as they continue to be the most scrutinized team in the NFL. That's the blessing and the curse of being, quote-unquote, America's team. Everything you do is hyper-scrutinized. And that's the answer to Micah's question. Everything you do is hyper-scrutinized because of the team you play for. You play for the Cardinals, don't got to worry about it. Play for the Jaguars, even when they're good, don't have to worry about it. They don't get that intense scrutiny of every single thing that they do. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.